This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by Gear and Sea by Claire C. Marshall. Friendship, jealousy, and the guts to choose between them intertwine in this brand new adventure of the Silent Guardian series, a world of robots and the kids who love them, created by GMB Kamichuk and Justin Curry. Available at fairyinkpress.com.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. And in this particular episode, we're going to talk to Dan Vadeboncoeur about post-FanQuest blues.
Blues?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have the blues.
You know?
No.
You don't have any, like...
Actually, I would say for the first time...
like postpartum with giving birth to a show.
Well, I certainly experienced that in the first 2 years of FanQuest because, if I'm being completely honest, we did not make any money. In fact, we lost money on the first two shows. This one, I'm pretty sure we broke even, so I'm happy with that.
Congratulations.
I'm very, very happy with that. After 3 years, to be completely even and ready to go for the next one, and it's a much better place. Having learned everything we've learned in the last 3 years, it's set us up for success for the next show. It's going to be even better than last time. And I think overall, people, you guys can tell me about your experiences, but people who went had a great time. Overwhelmingly positive. There's a few hiccups, but that's going to happen in any show. And I think that overall went well.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah.
It's, it's interesting for us because it's, it's really easy for us to balance our expectations for a show like that because it's a home city. There's no travel expense. There's no we don't have to stay somewhere. So, and our studio is only a couple of blocks from where the show is being held. So, for us, it was just.
At one point, I got Greg to watch my table and ran to the studio to get paper towel supplies so I could come back and make a paper towel.
Oh.
At FanQuest.
These are the kinds of things we can't do at other shows. So I know that you didn't design it to have a benefit to us.
No, but there were not only you, but also Dan Hawksworth, who has a studio right across the street, just rolled his stuff on over and set up, so it was very easy for him as well. So this area of town has quite a few artists and studios in it, so it was very easy for them to come set up. So yeah, absolutely.
Now you were talking about possibly changing.
Yeah, what's funny is I said that to a few people as we're walking around. I'm looking at the show, I'm having a good time, and I really did have a great time this weekend. For the first time in 3 years, I had a great time without having to worry about a million things. And I'll credit my team for helping me out with that because they did a great job and just kind of taking away all the...
You did have a great group of volunteers.
Yeah, they really kind of did a great job just taking away all the little details. They don't bug me with every single thing. They just go ahead and solve the problem. That's what I've empowered them to do, and that's what they do. So that was very helpful, but I'm also looking at the whole thing going, how can we improve this? How can we make this better? And for you guys as well, and one thing I noticed, I thought maybe, and I wasn't there the entire time, but it seemed very quiet in your end of in the compared to other parts of the con.
I think it surged. We were, for lack of a better way to describe it to the listener, there was kind of there was a J hook, the way that the crowd could roll, and so we were at the end of that.
Yeah.
So if somebody didn't know or didn't see or didn't realize that it went all the way around, then they would maybe lost steam along the way or got interested in something and then off they went. But our general feeling about a show with a small footprint like that is that placement isn't. You were saying this yesterday. Placement's not that important.
But yeah, at a show like this with that floor plan, everybody saw us. Everybody got to us at one point.
Okay. Eventually,
we
they
just
wiggle their way
weren't
through.
the part of the floor plan where people kind of
congregated.
Yes.
Oh. See,
Yeah.
I thought that would be because there is a bit of open space there.
There is a little bit.
I thought that would be a place where people would
But
congregate.
where they did was in that main hallway atrium. It's just a beautiful spot. It's a testament to the architecture
of the building.
Of that building, right? Where that common space, which is normally the Red River campus's common area there, under the skylights, of course.
Yeah.
But
inviting,
then
right?
the disadvantage there is if you have a table out there and you have a group of friends that are just hanging out in front of your table all the time, somewhat shy consumers don't want to approach you or try to get in there to see your stuff.
I'm still trying to learn a little bit more about that aspect of it, of the shy consumer, of the people who are not, for example, one of our guests this weekend, Jamie Young of Fantastic Creations, was there, and he said that over the course of the weekend, there was one man who kind of kept walking by and glancing nervously at the table, and then kept walking. And he did it a number of times. And then finally, on Sunday, he came up to them with his creation. He'd created a foam laser beak. Did you see that?
No,
I
didn't.
He made laser beak from Transformers.
That's
the
awesome.
thing. But he was inspired to do it because Jamie had made one. And so he'd seen Jamie. He was a follower of his on YouTube, and he'd seen him make this. So he followed his instructions and made his own. And he was very nervous about approaching him. And so it didn't occur to me that people would be like that and nervous about approaching artists that they admire. So I have to kind of think about that as well when I'm.
We're
coming up
kind
with
of big deals, so
are.
don't approach us unless you have something
oh my
important
God, no,
or good.
Don't listen to Justin. The thing that, I mean, oh man, if you build up somebody in your head even a little bit, it can become a barrier
Right.
where you don't know how to open the conversation, you don't know whatever. And if they're not instigating, right, if the person at the table isn't like, hello, welcome, this is what I do, let's talk, then there's no way in sometimes. That can be really hard for an introvert. Like,
Yes, yes.
The introvert life is a real thing.
And it is, and it is, again, for me, I have to really, because a lot of our audience are introverts, so many people are in that category. So I have to figure out how to try to, and I keep, my solution keeps saying, I want to bring them on other show, but maybe they don't want to be brought on other show.
That's I think the wrong-headed thing is we don't have to change an introvert.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
we just have to
that's
make
not our
things
job.
easier for them.
Justin and I inadvertently figured out an advantage that we had for introverts at the table is that we have this menu that we hand that requires no interaction from.
Yeah, we have an opening line built in with our thumbnail sheets. As soon as somebody looks somewhat interested, like that guy who was kind of glancing as he walked by, we have an easy, accessible answer to that, which is, here's my thumbnail sheet. Would you like to take a look? Take your time. Because from the other way around, we all, like, sometimes I don't feel like I want to be the one reaching out, and I don't want to bug these people, right? Like, somebody's walking by, am I being annoying by going like, hey, come look at my stuff, here's what I do? Like, maybe they don't want that. So that introversion goes both ways.
Yeah.
And I've said before on the podcast, I'm a introvert by nature, but an extrovert by training. And so I recognize that introverted behavior. And so being able to say, like, here's the book, here's the thing, and then not engage anymore, like, don't even make eye contact. If they take it from you and they seem to, like, pull in and they will just want to engage with that object, I just let them have their time.
I like that when, somebody, they can kind of like, come to this quiet little moment with your menu and kind of not be overwhelmed by everything in the show.
You don't want to be the server at the restaurant saying, what are you going to have, huh? And just hover over the
Well,
menu
yeah,
and try to
that's right.
decide.
Yeah.
They always leave you alone to decide what you want
Exactly. That's what we're doing. We're leaving them
Yeah.
alone to take it in on their own time, their own pace.
It would almost be, it's, like, because convention life. Yes, hello, Jess. Justin has. Here.
We should,
say hello, Jess.
So we have a new mascot at the studio. I am fostering a Greyhound Terrier mix named Jazz for the next 2 weeks. So we've had her for about 3 weeks. And she is a very, very sweet 2-year-old dog.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, she's a sweetie.
Yeah,
but
she
she's
is.
currently in my lap now.
She's just rotating between, me, Gregory, and Dan just getting pets.
Now, you had a sandwich earlier, and clearly she loves you for more than just a sandwich now because you don't have it anymore.
It's true. It's gone.
Okay.
It could be my personality that
could
she
be.
loves. What I was going to say is that there's an etiquette. There's a social etiquette that is evolving at shows that people are starting to learn and understand, but not everybody knows to do it. And I think that one of the social etiquettes that it would almost be, how, for example, there's those big posters that say, cosplay is not consent. Right? Because people had to be told that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you had to put it up in writing because someone who's come to a show and has never seen it, just because someone's in a costume does not give you the right to take their photo, does not give you the right to pose with them. You have to ask.
Yes.
Right? But you don't know that if you come from the outside. You'd almost need a sign that says, browsing is welcome. Right? Please take your time.
No pressure.
There's no pressure here, right? Like, you're not expected to buy something from every table that you visit.
That's true.
The vendor
Yes.
does not expect you to buy something just because you're visiting, right? Your time is not an endorsement of that product, like some kind of way to just let a casual person who comes in know that it's almost like a museum of nerd where you could buy it if you wanted.
You could, yeah,
right?
But it is a lot of the. I mean, one of the comments I got a lot this weekend was so many people had great conversations with people, and that's part of what is great about a con is that you get to kind of gather with like-minded people and nerd out about your favorite movies or comics or TV shows or whatever. So a lot of that was happening. And I think that's a great idea, though, having some sort of a guide to let people know that, hey, this is all fun. I mean, people are here to sell their stuff, and obviously they want to sell what they can, but you don't have to buy it. You can come and say, like, come up to you and say, wow, that's amazing work. You know, maybe they
How did you make that?
Talk about the process. Talk about what inspired you to do that piece. And then, so if they don't buy it this time, that's fine. They might come by you next time and buy it. It's part of building that brand with you guys, for sure.
Yeah.
I've always kind of thought that we were a hybrid between like an art gallery and like a vendor. We're not, we're kind of...
Like if all you can afford is to stand there and look at it, or maybe take a picture of it with your phone, like if that is the limit of your budget, then that is what you should do. And you shouldn't be ashamed that you didn't, that you don't have $1,000 of disposable income to spend at every booth. Like that's a ridiculous idea, right?
Right. No, I would have dropped so much money. I actually I did for the first time buy from each of you, which I'd never done before at a con. So I wanted to make sure I did that. And I also purchased Arkland finally from Scotty Ford because I'm just itching to read that. But
well, 1 out of 3 good things you bought. At least.
No, I got your Day of the Triffids
No, I know, but I'm
poster
saying
and Rust and Water.
But of the 3, probably Arkland is the good buy there.
Anyway.
Shout out to Scott Ford.
Welcome to the machine. Leave the name, leave the number, if you know what's good for you.
I want to give a shout out to my committee member Gary, who came up with the idea on Sunday of taking photos of every booth and of everybody's business card.
Yeah, that was great.
That's right.
And he created an album on our Facebook page. For those who are at the con, we quite frequently have had people ask questions. Oh, there was somebody selling this, but I can't remember which one it was. So for people who were at the con and were interested in a product but maybe did not remember exactly which booth they were at when they saw something, this is to help them. First of all, it's a thank you to everybody who was there, but also to remind people, these are the people who are tabling at our con. If you're interested in any of their products, here's the contact information. So it kind of makes that connection post-con, which I think is a brilliant idea. So great job, Gary, for doing that.
I would love to see that at other shows. Like there's so many shows that we can attend, and if somebody went around and did that you could see a clear shot of the booth set up and their business card.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to look through that.
Yeah, it was really good. Some other lessons I learned of this year over last year, because we were in the same venue 2 years in a row. A closed door is an obstacle that many people do not want to overcome. Right. Because we had our gaming area in the same part of the campus. It was in the Learning Commons area, which is a big room. And we have Justin of the Retro Detective. He's called and he sells a lot of retro video games, and he was set up in there. And he said it was much better this year because they propped a door open, which they're not supposed to do because of fire hazards or whatever. Right. It's a fire door. But they did it anyway, and they propped the door open, and that made it much more inviting for people to walk in, as opposed to last year when we kept it closed. We put a sign on it that said gaming area, but people still see a closed door, and they think they can't go through there.
Yeah.
So that was a great help as well.
Yeah, public spaces that's how people are in a public space.
And really, I mean, we also made the decision to limit the entry to one side of the atrium as opposed to 2 because we were told, one of the things is we were told we'd have to hire an extra security guard to watch that other door. But in fact, we'd actually already made the decision to close it just because it was too tough to manage both sides. So we made people walk around the building to the south side of the atrium. But what that led to was people coming in, taking a right down Guest Alley and exploring that way, but not proceeding all the way through to you guys on the far side. And I thought you guys would be the draw. I thought, okay, here's the map. Show them the map. There's a big thing of artists over on that other side. People are going to make their way over that, and not everybody did.
It takes a while for people to figure that stuff out.
I also wanted to bring up a point, something I've noticed over years of doing conventions. When you get a floor plan through your email and you look at it, you'll think like, oh my God, I have a great spot, or oh my God, I have a terrible spot.
Till you're there.
It's never accurate.
Yeah.
Once you're there,
That's why
you realize, oh my God, this is an amazing spot, or oh my God, this is a terrible spot. But the overhead floor plan does not give you any sense of what it's going to be like until you get there.
The architecture of the space.
That's why we don't release it on our website. We don't put a detailed where everybody is. First of all, it's a small enough venue that people can find everything. But even still, it's like, yeah. Plus, things shift and change at the last minute. We were replacing. I made some mistakes with the floor plan, so we had to replace people because I didn't count enough spaces or something like that. So there were changes. So if anybody were to publish a floor plan I released 2 weeks ago to vendors, that would not be accurate.
Right.
So we give you an overall sense of here are the big rooms, boom, boom, boom.
Well, it's a different kind of scenario too, because you guys are not. I mean, what I've been noticing about smaller shows related to comics or fan stuff is that they're run by people who are interested in giving a fan experience to the people who attend. They are not maximizing for how to fleece every dollar out of everyone.
Not at all.
Through, right?
Not at all.
And so there's a different feeling. Like when
In fact, I'm reluctant to charge anybody anything other than the entry fee. Like,
Right.
that's really what I don't want to charge them anything
right.
else.
And so
I feel bad about that. I really do.
charging them the entry.
I do. I'm like,
But
because they come in and like I'm charging them money to come in and then buy things from you. But I'm trying to also give them, like, we have guests, we have
do lots
panels,
of
we have
programming, yeah.
The programming went over. We'll get to that in a second. They went over very well. But continue your thought. I apologize.
Well, that's the only thing I'm making a point of is that a show that's run with the experience of the attendee as paramount is going to feel almost in some ways less organized, because it's like, here's a bunch of things. Please go pick something to attend and follow your interest. Whereas a show that is run like, say, The X or, right, like something that is designed to take you through the entire thing and engage with places where your money is sticky all the way along.
I hear the Galaxy's Edge Park is like that in the new Disneyland.
I'm
Galaxy's
sure it
Edge.
is,
Yeah.
Well, and it really bugs me. I mean, because my kids are of that age now where, hey, let's go to this theme park, or let's go to this attraction, or let's go to this aquarium when we're trying, like those kinds of things.
Yep.
And they're all like, you come in and they take your photo and they arrange this thing, and then you don't get to see that to the end. Like at the end,
And then they want you to pay $20 for the
they want
photo.
you to pay. They have a picture of your family, right?
That's right.
A glossy photo. That
I've got
they
one from the
printed.
Vancouver Aquarium. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they're like, yeah, for $40 you can have this, and we can, send you a digital file. I was like, well, no, I don't want it, and I also want to watch you destroy that photo of my family, right? Like, please,
very good
because
point.
you actually don't have consent to take my photo and turn it into a piece of merchandise, which
Right.
you have done,
Yeah. Good point.
right? And they were like, it was like blink, because it's just like, 19-year-olds just doing their job. And they're like, well, we do destroy them all at the end of the night. And I was like, so you have a system that gets rid of the old photos? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, use it right now, please. Right? And they did. And it wasn't like I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it, but, right? Imagine if I had done the same thing at my booth.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I'm going to take a picture of your family. I'm going to print it out. And I'm going to try and sell it to you. And then I promise you at the end of the night, I'll get rid of it
Yeah.
if you don't buy it.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
Makes me think of the cosplay is not consent
That's
signs
creepy.
a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly.
I took.
it makes me think of that 1 hour photo movie with
Robin Williams?
Robin
Oh,
Williams.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, man.
That was like back in Blockbuster days. I'm pretty sure I rented that thinking it was going to be a Robin Williams comedy.
You fire me and I'll make more noise than 2 skeletons making love in a tin coffin, brother.
Some other positive experiences from the con. Everyone loved Umpo Kuaho, who was our kind of main media guest from Dirk Gently and The Expanse and everything. He had some great stories, very energetic, funny guy. He did not, the first day, he barely sat at his table because he was just going around talking to everybody, which is great. I'm okay with that. Again, like, because we're this type of convention, okay, I'll say this. In my experience working for other conventions, when a guest was not at their table, that was a bad thing, because when they're not at their table, they're not signing autographs.
making money.
And they're not making money. Whereas we don't charge for autographs. We're not about that. So if he's not at his table, that's okay.
And he floated around and met all the vendors.
Yeah.
And met all the people who were
which is
talking
good
to
for
the
you guys,
vendors.
because you guys don't get to meet the guests when you're at a show,
No, that was
right?
cool, yeah.
So he was super cool, and everyone loved him, and his panels went really well. He had some great stories about Val Kilmer and the Salton Sea. Have you seen the Salton Sea?
I like the Salton Sea. He's in the Salton Sea.
He's in the Salton Sea. He's in that scene, and it's funny because it's a scene that sticks with me even after almost 20 years after I've seen that film.
Come on.
He's the kid who sells him guns. So remember that when he's got that big table full of guns, he's like, "These are my guns. All sales are final. All prices are negotiable.
Yeah.
They're all guaranteed stolen, only traceable back to the original owners." He's got this monologue that he does.
Yeah.
So he does that. It's really good. And so in the scene, he's sitting at one end of the table with all the guns there, and then Val Kilmer's at the other end. He told us he did that scene in front of a green screen.
No.
Val Kilmer was not on set with him to do that.
That hurts
which
my heart to know that.
The funny thing is that he said he's more angry about it now than he was back then. Back then he was like 21 years old
Yeah,
and
he's
didn't
just
care.
like, yeah, I'm in a movie.
Yeah, I'm in a movie and Val Kilmer's in the movie. But now he's like, come on, Val, couldn't you be at that scene? So anyway, so the stories like that were really good. He tweeted out a greeting to our mayor of Winnipeg, and our mayor responded yesterday.
Not just tweet, he recorded like a pretty heartfelt, like, well, thanks for welcoming me back, Winnipeg video that I thought was like really genuine and nice.
Just a great guy overall. As well, I already mentioned Foamtastic Creations. He had a great panel talking about how he creates all the things. Like he had this great AT-AT model that he made.
Yes,
and Vincent from Black
from Black Hole. And he talked about how he goes around now. He says he picks up. He's got the best statement was, everybody has one junk drawer in their house. He's got one regular drawer. All his other drawers are junk drawers because he'll pick up a piece of something and goes, oh, that might make a good button for this, and he'll just stick it in a drawer. Right. And then when he's going to make something, he rummages through it to look for right parts.
Right.
And what he talks about when he's making his models, and he's created a number of Star Wars ones like Boba Fett's ship, Slave 2. He's done one of those gun turrets from the Death Star. Yeah. And he made one that actually moves when it shoots and lights up.
Nice.
And he does that, but kind of eyeballing it and making it as accurate as he can. Yeah. But he said it's the exact same process those people went through when they made those originally for the movie, right? Kit bashing, he called it. When they're breaking up model kits and they're like, okay, this looks like a good piece for the back of an X-Wing. Yeah. And they would like glue it all together, and that's exactly what he's doing when he creates it. Yeah, they took a whole
bunch of like aircraft carrier model kits to build like the X-Wings and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so he does the same thing for his models.
And we do that with our art, actually. We kit bash a lot of stuff. Like we're like, oh, that shape would make a good monster. Oh,
really?
That thing. Yeah, we do
that.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
If you want to tumble down a great rabbit hole on the internet as well, kit bashing of Gundam models, custom Gundam model builds. Like there's already these epic robot models, and then combining a whole whack of different ones. There's some truly great stuff on there.
Yeah, so anyway, his panel went really well. Your panel went really well, I thought. I mean, you guys had a great conversation.
Our panel was great.
Yeah,
we kind of ignored the audience and just kind of asked each other questions.
That's a great way to do it, right? And the audience had some great questions. I think they were really interested.
Well, so what we did for the dear listener for our panel is rather than here's a bunch of stuff from on high, it's rare that Claire and Justin and I are all together in a room talking process. We're always like focused on this specific project and how to move that forward. So we just said, let's just have a conversation about how it worked in our individual pieces, and then let the audience throw in questions to keep our conversation rolling, which it was really fun.
Yeah, it went really well. So again, great panel there. I'm trying to think of the other programming we had. Oh, the YouTuber panel. That went really well. That was Black Magic Craft and 8-Bit Music Theory, which were two guys locally here in Winnipeg who create YouTube videos. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They make their living by posting on YouTube, which is
That's
not
awesome.
something.
Not too many people can.
Well, I don't know that.
Definitely not in Winnipeg.
Certainly, a lot of people in Winnipeg don't think that this is possible, and I'm sure there are more than just these two. And I was talking to Jeremy, who does Black Magic Craft. His channel is about making models for role-playing games. So if you need like one of his more popular ones, actually. He told a funny story about how he has a schedule that he sticks to, and he has upload a video every Tuesday and every Friday. And it was around the holidays, around Christmas time, and he really didn't want to spend a lot of time on a video. So he decided to really just kind of do a half-hearted one. So he made this dollar store dragon model where he went to the dollar store, picked up some pieces, and made a dragon. And he recorded himself and put the video together really quickly, and it proved to be one of his most popular videos.
That's always the case. Always the case.
So he makes these models, and he shows it's a how-to kind of a channel. But he told me, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I didn't even know this other person who does it's more of an analysis about music theory and how video games create their music. He didn't even know he existed. He was doing this in Winnipeg, and he's like, there's no way to check on YouTube where YouTubers are located. That's
probably safer for YouTubers.
Probably, and but I, as somebody who organizes shows and who wants to bring more of these people in, I would love to know that. Yeah. It was just through word of mouth and because friends of friends that we were able to find these two. But yeah, great panel talking about how YouTube works, how the algorithm works, how they make money. It's not just from YouTube ad revenue. They both have Patreon followings that they make most of their money. Actually, 8-Bit Music Theory said he makes most of his money from Patreon. But Black Magic Craft makes most of his money from Amazon because when he links to the supplies in the video, he gets a percentage of the sales from that. So that's a really interesting thing to me. So when he uses a certain type of paint or a certain type of paintbrush, he links to all the supplies down there, and people they buy it.
Now, I'd be curious, did he reach out to those suppliers to get that, or is that a function that YouTube sets up with Amazon?
I think it must be between YouTube and Amazon, but he must have heard about that from other similar YouTubers who do similar things. He has he's got a good community of friends on YouTube, obviously not from Winnipeg, that are like, to help each other out with this kind of stuff. So that was a really good panel, really well attended. Overall, the programming was excellent. I was very, very happy with the programming.
Doug Morrow's panel was good
too. Man, they loved him. They loved him so much. Doug Morrow made Taryn look like she had radioactive burns on her face. Super realistic. I had to look at her and go, "What's wrong with you?" Oh, yeah, that's right. You were just in a makeup panel.
I heard her talking the day after, I guess, on her way home.
She had to get groceries or something.
Yeah. And so she was just like, it was a complicated scenario where she doesn't want to say, like, people are trying to be respectful, and she doesn't, and she's like doesn't want to be like, oh, it's just makeup, because then it's like, well, why would you? Yeah,
I did a similar thing when I was at HorrorCon a number of years ago, and I had one of the guys, the zombie guys, put a big gash in my forehead,
right?
And I had to go to the hotel and making arrangements for somebody at a hotel for the after party or something, and I walk into the hotel lobby and everybody's looking at me and going, oh my god, are you okay? Because there was a big gash and blood dripping down my face. But yeah, that was Doug Morrow had some great stories. He worked on Jumanji. He worked on the X-Files. He's got great, and that's what we're
on the Winnipeg Classic, The Void.
The Void, yeah, and last year we had Stephen Kostanski in with that talking about. He's the director of The Void. Yeah, like so many people with great stories to tell. That's what we want to do.
I have a nice story about Doug Morrow. He came by the booth, and I have a lot of classic monster posters and stuff like that I do homages to those, and he was so genuinely excited by genre. Like, once we started talking about, I'll preface this by saying sometimes you talk to people in the industry who have been in it for a long time, and it doesn't hold any magic.
Right, because they've been doing it forever.
In specific instances. Man, he was so excited to talk about monsters and like creatures and creature effects, and like there was no like, oh, well, yeah, I'm just here, kid, because they invited me down.
No, he loved it. He said he wants to come back next year.
Yeah, he was like, you have a Day of the Trivets poster? Oh, my God, look at this Frankenstein, right? He bought a big Frankenstein poster.
The light is still in his eyes.
The light was still in his eyes.
That's
for
great.
All the things that fire me up, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and that's really, I really appreciated that about him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He did say he wants to come back next year. I think one of the interesting things about his talk, like he told stories about being on sets, and he did have some on Jumanji, for example. Part of his job was to create. There's that part where the kid turns into the monkey.
Yeah.
So there's that halfway point where he's kind of looking like a monkey when he's still a boy. So he helped do that makeup on him. But he said that he has a number of mentors, and I don't remember the names of all these, and many of them are legends in the field of makeup and special effects. But the best advice he got was not only to specialize in special effects makeup, but also to specialize to do regular makeup, like just everyday movie makeup where you're making the person look nice for the cameras, because that's the bulk of what he does these days. Because he wants to stay in Winnipeg, he not want to move to Toronto, or maybe he did live in Toronto or Hollywood for a while. But he wants to stay in Winnipeg, and the productions that come through here are varied, but often not special effects related. Like we just had a Hallmark
makeup
movie
company that can do any kind of
yes,
makeup.
so he does all kinds of makeup. He was working
models.
on. He told me, and he'd been working on it till 7 a.m. that morning, and he went home for a quick nap, and then came to FanQuest. But he'd been working on the new Amazon Tales from the Loop, which is shooting here right now. So he's been working on that for the last little while. And he's not doing a ton of special effects makeup on that. That's part of his job. But great advice and really interesting for anybody who wants to get into that. It shows that if you're from Winnipeg, you can work in movies. You can do that.
I kind of it's similar. I always recommend to artists who are trying to get into the industry, like young people starting out, graphic design as kind of the foundation, because it teaches you. You can get graphic design work pretty readily. There's a lot of it around for freelancing and stuff like that, and it teaches you so much on the road to illustration, and so it's that good base foundation to have.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like what you're saying. So he's doing like from monsters to models, right?
Yeah.
He can do the makeup for the whole spectrum. Yeah. If you're an illustrator or a graphic designer, it's good for you to have a base that's wide.
Yeah, and there were a number of graphic designers at FanQuest this past weekend. Many my former students. So I teach the writing class in graphic design, which is everyone's least favorite class in that program. But I got to learn how to write. Damn it. So many former students are tabling at FanQuest selling their original work. So they are working by day as graphic designers, but by night they're doing much like you guys were doing with your side hustles. They're working towards that, making it their main hustle, right? So that is very, very common. Well, and great artists all.
You need practice, right? So if you, and that's the other side of it, is if you are doing basic layout and graphic design all day, every day, you'll get good at it. But if you want to do that other stuff and you're not practicing, why aren't you practicing?
Right.
And just need small incremental improvements is all it takes.
Is it to become a master at something? Is 10,000 hours?
That's the number that gets bandied around a lot, but
what does that translate into, like, years? 10,000 hours.
Let's assume that it's 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever.
I'm doing
Dan
the math.
has got the calculator out.
1,250 days divided by 365. That's about almost 3.5 years.
3.5
Oh,
years.
so if you were doing it every day, all day for 3.5 years, that sounds about right.
But if you're only doing it for a couple hours in the evenings, right, it could take you a little bit longer. But anyway.
It might take you 10 years, right? It might take you 10 years of being a teacher, working on books a little at a time every year to put out something, which is what I did, right? To finally hit a place where you're confident that you can execute when asked in a wide variety of things.
That's negative thinking. Think positive.
I think we're positively crazy for even trying this.
Do you guys have any feedback for me from FanQuest?
I wanted to ask, as a show runner, for artists coming in, setting up their booths, and then doing the show and taking down, were there any... is there any feedback from you or any comments from you of what people could be doing better or...
because we don't get that
we
feedback
don't,
from shows
we don't ever get a chance to talk to somebody.
I don't know if you guys heard me make the joke at the very end of the weekend where I said the person with the cleanest space in the league gets a prize. Like, that was my experience last year. I wanted to do... I'm not going to name the artist, but I told you off the air who it was. One artist, I have a photo of it from last year, left the biggest mess.
It's like a bear ripped through a campsite kind of thing,
almost
right?
something like that. Yeah. So I was I wanted to make it like they have the dirtiest car in the lot thing they do at sports games. Here's the dirtiest car in the lot. You win a prize. You win a car wash from blah blah blah. I want to do something like that, but I'm not going to shame anybody online. But, but certainly making sure your space is clean and as you found it. That's my biggest. Even at garbage, like pick up the garbage. I saw you throw a blueberry under a table at one point.
Impossible.
That sounds like something you would do.
It does sound like
and I did find an
empty
blueberry container right there next to a garbage can. But I think it's because you didn't want to throw a recyclable container.
That's right. It's recyclable. That's okay. So here's my feedback. There was not enough recyclable.
There were quite a few recyclable.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not for a person that can't leave his table.
At the college, they do something weird. I don't know that they need to do it anymore because I'm not sure the process. But they
under the table.
They have 3 separate bins for paper recyclables, drink recyclables, and then other.
But it all goes to the same container.
It does, and eventually, yeah. So I don't think they need to do that anymore. But at one point, someone made that decision that because the paper one has just a slot in it that you just can put paper in.
Right.
And the drink one has a hole in it for drink cups and stuff. But overall, actually, everyone was very good about the way they were led. And I have to also give another shout out to our friend Kyle Rudge's church group who came in and helped us with tear. They bought pizza for everybody.
I was going to say, one thing I was going to say that I thought was so charming and wonderful is everyone's tear down. It's the end of the weekend. You've worked a long set of days. And then
usually you haven't eaten.
Yeah, you've waited because you're like, I'm going to go out and eat after or whatever. But you always leave it a little too long.
You're hungry.
At the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And then someone showed up with both meat lovers and vegetarian options for pizzas. It was
that was Kyle and his group, and they did a great. So they bought pizza. And originally, I think the pizza was going to be for the teardown crew, but they bought a lot of pizza, so they brought it around to all the vendors as they were tearing down. And then they stayed and they tore down everything. They put all the tables back. So last year I was there till 10 o'clock at night tearing down by myself because everyone took off. And I didn't want to I felt bad making everybody stay. So people were like, okay, I'm going to go now. I'm like, okay, bye. And then I was there. And then I had to come back the next day and still continue doing it because I just made it functional. And then I went back and finished it. Today we were done, or on Sunday we were done in an hour and a half. everything back to
because
the way it was.
many hands make light work.
so much help. So those guys did a great job. I'm so grateful to them for helping us. Probably the best teardown I've ever had experience of doing. And yeah, like the artists were all overall very, very positive. Everyone said, "Oh, we'll be back next year," and letting us know that they had a great experience and see you later and everything like that. So yeah, great. I'm going to send out a survey to all the vendors and artists who took part, just to see if I can get any feedback from them as far as what we can do better. I know that I made some mistakes in the floor plan.
Did that last year as well, didn't you? The FanQuest?
Yep. Yeah, we do that every year.
It's
We
the
try-
only survey I've ever filled out from a convention because they all send them out. But
Yeah.
yours
Well,
is the
thank
only
you for
one I
filling it
actually,
out. Like I'll give you one example as a small piece. Some of the artists. So there's a Tim Hortons in the campus, right in that same room you guys are in. Last year we did not cover it up. So you see the gate, but you can still see the signs on with all the food flashing across the screens. And that made a lot of vendors hungry, and they didn't like having to look at that. So this year we covered it up. We didn't have any more food options, although we did have our Station 8 Cafe did sell sandwiches and stuff, I think.
They did. They totally did. I partook in that. And they came around. Another thing that happened.
That was great.
They came around every hour or two to take orders.
Yes. I often saw someone delivering like cappuccinos. And it's good coffee. It's not like just regular. It's like cappuccinos,
coffee, nice
lattes.
So
that
smart.
kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff.
And it's now, a small show or even a big show, they can't provide green room food access to everybody.
No.
But just something as simple as somebody coming to take your order and then
Especially
bring it to you.
most tables can't leave their table to go get food.
And they are hungry. Like there's
Yeah.
a hole in the capitalist system there that someone could fill pretty easily.
I did reach out to a few food trucks. It was too late. They'd already been booked, but that's something we're looking at for next year, getting on top of that earlier and inviting more food trucks to come and set up outside the con so that people can go and have some food options.
I had a question I've just always kind of been curious about. Somebody who wants to come and sell food at a convention, what kind of legalities and paperwork is involved with selling food at a...
Well, I think anybody who sells food has to have a food handler certificate, which Station 8 does, because it is an actual cafe that operates, and so they just kind of transfer their services to FanQuest. But the venue also will have rules as well, so depending on the venue. So for our venue, the only food operator in that building is Tim Hortons. They were closed, so we could do what we wanted, basically.
Right.
If they were open, if they chosen to be open during
Then
that
you
weekend,
can't compete with them?
We can't compete specifically with them. We couldn't sell coffee or donuts or anything they sell.
Yeah.
So we could sell burgers or hot dogs or something like that.
Right.
We couldn't sell the same kind of food. So that's pretty much a non-compete clause they have with the college.
Okay.
The other thing that I noticed that it's happening in a lot of shows that I think you would only be able to, I think, organize it at a small show. But those mystery packs that people sell.
Oh, yeah. My son bought a Star Wars one.
Yeah. Of just random related stuff. I feel like a show like FanQuest could organize a mystery pack where like all of the people that are coming could put together a few items into a pack, sell it to FanQuest at cost, and then FanQuest sells those mystery packs.
I make some money on
right?
it. Yeah.
But everyone makes some money, but also there's that component of, oh, wow, what is this? Where is this? Who is this?
Right.
Those people can then go find it and then get it signed.
Yes.
Right? It becomes a way that the vendor has not lost money. They've been paid their production cost on that item. It becomes a promotion or like exposure that actually has value because if it's in here, they're here. They'll sign it for you or they'll talk to you about how they made it or whatever. Like it would add that quest component.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, good idea.
Icon does something similar, but you give them stuff and it goes against your table. Like instead of they take whatever you donate X amount, and part of that comes off your table
that
expense.
goes to their volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a thing where if you donate books or art or whatever to their volunteers, like that they give back to their volunteers, then that dollar, the retail amount is discounted from your table.
Which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And so it's their way of like passing along to their volunteers.
Yeah, volunteers often they want to be a part of the comic experience. They might not have a lot of money to participate.
Yeah.
So this gets them a chance to get some of the merchandise that would normally not be able to buy at a con for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to create experiences for people, all those value-added things add up to positive nostalgia. But not immediately. Like it's one of those things where like a year later you would be like, oh yeah, remember we went to that show and we got all those people's things? Like there isn't like this direct monetary windfall for everybody involved, but it does have there's that long tail of the comet.
Yeah, I agree. Some other great moments. There was a moment where there's a fan who'd come who was mute. He was not able to speak, but he is a huge fan of The Expanse. He was a huge fan of Dirk Gently. He wanted to come meet Umpo. And so once it kind of communicated like what he liked, Umpo then went and showed him on his phone all his behind-the-scenes shots from The Expanse and from Dirk Gently that he had on his phone, and he says he's never shown it to anybody.
Right.
He's got all his personal photos, and he was just talking about the experience and kind of sat down one-on-one with his fan. That was a great thing. That's exactly the kind of stuff we want to have.
Right.
Like this connection with the creator to the fan. The Smash tournament was a great success. It was a Smash. Haha. The gaming area was hopping on Saturday because of all the players in there for the Smash Brothers tournament.
And
the
some
winner,
cool prizes.
winner went home with $500.
Oh, fantastic.
That's and I'm like, I just checked in at the end of the day on Sunday. I'm like, who won? Like, oh, the same guy who usually wins these things. I'm like, well, somebody's got to get better than him. Come on, somebody's got to challenge him.
I heard there was, it was some of the top players.
We had about 50 players, and these were the top players in the province. Like we offered, so the way it usually works is everyone puts in their entry fee, and it's a prize pool. The organizers take out a certain amount for the venue cost, but we were providing the venue, so there was no cost. So we created the prize pool. We added a little bit of prize money on top of it to round it up to $500 for the top prize, and everyone else got the rest of the payout of the prize pool. But that winner got $500, and we want to do that again next year. Playing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, actually, playing is the wrong. For competing. It is a legit esport. People do compete as an esport. So that's why I made the distinction because I play Smash Brothers.
I don't play very well.
They do not play.
I was playing again, and their friends from Extra Life were there. They had a booth set up. They had a table for a donation. You could also play whatever video game. So I was playing my son at Smash Brothers, and I'm just awful. I'm just terrible. I'm horrible at that game.
Yeah.
I'm not good at. I'm pretty good at like the fighters from our youth, like Mortal Kombat and the Street Fighter games. I'm good at those, but not Smash. It's too fast for me. It's just too much going on. I don't get it. You're multi-levels, and there's like people throwing things. Anyway.
Anyone wants to challenge me to a Samurai Showdown game?
Love that game. When it was the Namco.
Yeah.
Was it Namco? They had you could choose different games on the arcade system. So you get in there, you can choose Samurai Showdown or different ones. I love Samurai Showdown.
The only difference between a hero and a villain is the amount of compensation they take for their services. At our pay scale, I'd say we're heroes.
Our board game creators were running their own personally made board games.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I actually
Party.
didn't know that group existed.
Yeah.
And I found out that there's a group of people that make their own board games and then play test them every week.
Yeah, and they wanted to be there to introduce their games to people. Surplus of Popes is probably one of the best known locally made games. Those guys did really well with that. But there's one called the Awkward Party Game, which was actually played by Bjorn Board Games when they came for the first year of FanQuest. And a number of other ones, and they had a chance to show off some of their games and get people interested. We had Game Night Games was kind of our gaming sponsor, so they had a table, they had demos going on there. Yeah, overall just a great weekend and many, many great experiences for FanQuest.
So wisdom for next year?
Ample parking.
Better, so a different venue with more parking. So
that's what we're really looking at, different and possibly different dates. I'm still I'm terrified of changing the dates, but there's a lot of competition. There's a lot. Okay, so this is what we had going on this weekend. In addition to FanQuest, we had the Red River X, we had the Beer Fest, we had Jazz Fest, we had I don't remember what else. Somebody made a list of all the stuff going on. There was a lot going on in Winnipeg this weekend.
We had the nice weather.
We had the nice weather. That's right. We had the beach. We had just barbecuing in the backyard. So there's lots of stuff to do other than FanQuest.
Yeah, that's
so true. My instinct is to want to move it to the fall.
Well, October's sort of open now.
Well, is it though? I don't know. What if I'm terrified of moving it to October and then finding out that something is going to happen in October.
Right.
Right. So maybe September. I don't know. I don't know yet. We're bouncing it around, but there certainly is a different venue is in the mix, and possibly newer dates later in the year when there's not as much going on in the city. So
as a parent early September would be bad.
I
would
agree.
not bring my
Yeah, I
kids.
agree.
There's so many expenses in early September.
Yep.
There's so many things happening. There's so many draws on your time. You'd want to go, but you probably would not be able to.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
This has been super. This has
yeah,
been,
yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
I think you should wrap it up.
This has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made and how cons get made.
Yes. Conventions. We can't use the word con because I was just listening to our other episode where San Diego Comic Con.
That's right.
Right? So, convention. We're safe as long as we use the whole word.
Okay.
Always use the whole words and join the fight and make comics.